When you say you want to have things buttoned up on the pitching side, what do you mean by that specifically?
I just think that, looking kind of doing a little small look back, we've been working behind hitters too often, not being efficient with our pitches, giving up a lot more slug than we're used to. So that's kind of it. And also with that, the defense we can't be giving up outs on the bases or, giving up extra outs.
Do you know what the plan is tomorrow for Ohtani, the pitching wise?
I think he might be facing some hitters. So it's a progress for Shohei, and I'm not sure which guys are going to be out there, but it's going to be out there on the mound, and he's going to be facing hitters.
How is this kind of build-up going to look for him? Is it going to be just in sim games? Is it going to be like on a weekly basis? Like, you guys know exactly how it's going to look over the next couple months, or is part of it depending on how these go as they come?
I think honestly it's how they go, and you kind of get to the next step. A lot of it is going to be contingent on how he's feeling and then what the next step is. So I don't think anyone knows how the next couple months are going to look.
Now that his progression's actually starting to ramp up to basic hitters, how are you seeing him do you sort of see him sort of getting more anxious to be part of the pitching side of himself again after a couple of years and stuff like that?
He doesn't tip his hand very often as far as emotions, but I don't see how he couldn't feel that it's starting to become more realistic.
The Mets 7-5. Our pregame predictions, courtesy of BetMGM. A lot of runs, especially late in the game tonight. But Soto and Ohtani combined to only have one hit. Soto was hitless tonight as the Mets fell short. They forced this game to extras with a 3-run bottom of the ninth. But then nobody could score in the first 3 innings of extra innings. The Dodgers finally did in the 13th.
Well, you saw the depth and the mental makeup of both sides. These are championship caliber locker rooms, and so the game got fun after the 9th inning. And there was a couple tough plays in the beginning of the game, made the game a little choppy, a couple rain delays here and there, but you saw the intensity. And the fans that stayed in this ballpark late, all the way until 1 in the morning, they saw a preview of a matchup that these two Titans are going to go up against each other once again.
Our cap off tonight presented by Miller Lite. We saw some weird plays early in this game. A fly ball to right center field that caused a collision between Tyrone Taylor and Juan Soto. Taylor caught the ball after the bobble, and as the Dodgers tagged up, it was ruled that they were allowed to as soon as the ball was touched in the outfield. Did not have to wait for the catch to be made fully to tag up, so the runners tagged up appropriately. The Mets didn't seem to be aware of that rule, neither were we, as that turned out the Dodgers into a 3-run inning. And then in the 4th inning, the Mets were able to get a run on an obstruction call with Max Muncy blocking the line of sight for Starling Marte, and he ended up scoring on the play even though he was thrown out by Teoscar Hernandez. Marte said, "I couldn't see." So that's how it went early on. Some strange plays. Brian Gorman thanking for his help in dissecting those tonight. But in the 9th inning, it was the Mets pounding away at Tanner Scott for a big comeback.
Yeah, Tanner Scott just didn't have the life or the command that he needed to. Started a missing arm side, and it shortened the baseball. You know what? It's a tough situation because the Dodgers need Tanner Scott down this tough stretch to really be able to lock down games.
Now Teoscar Hernandez had the big hit in the 13th. 3 RBI night for Hernandez. Had a 2-run single early in the game. Over 40 RBIs now for the year for Teoscar Hernandez. That includes an IL stint, as he has the 6th most in the major leagues. Dodgers win in 13. The series continues tomorrow, and I think both teams will try to figure out how to pitch through tomorrow's game now.
Oh, they need to go to sleep before they even worry about that lineup. But this was a fun matchup. We knew there was going to be intensity. The intensity started in the 9th inning, and we saw the talent of the bullpen, the depth of these both rosters, and fortunately the Dodgers won.
Well, we'll try it again next week in LA without the rain delay this time. Friday Night Baseball returns next week. A big doubleheader. First 7 Eastern. Fenway plays host to an interleague showdown. The Braves and the Red Sox. Then it's Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium. A rematch of the World Series. The Dodgers and the Yankees, one of baseball's most storied rivalries. Pre-game coverage from LA begins a half hour prior to each game. For other scores, highlights, and the latest news from around MLB, check out the Sports tab in the Apple News app. For Dontrell Willis, Heidi Watney, and our entire crew that worked late into the night tonight, I'm Wayne Randazzo saying good night from Flushing, Queens, where the Dodgers needed 13 innings to top the Mets 7-5. We'll talk to you again next week.
obviously I'd like to keep pitching, try to stay as loose as I could, but just kept going longer. I think in hindsight they probably should have just waited to start the game for a while. So tough to have our bullpen end up covering 10 innings. But they did an amazing job. All those guys threw the ball so well. So it was huge for us. Obviously, losing the lead in the ninth and then coming back, that was great. So it's a tough way to start the road trip, just like depleting the bullpen like that, obviously. But Mets had to do the same thing and they lost, so that doesn't feel near as good.
How frustrating is that, like, to have that be called the rain delay after 2 innings, especially when you're coming off an injury and also, like you mentioned, kind of like having to use as many arms as you guys have to do?
It's part of the game. Yeah, it's part of the game. Rain delays happen all the time on the East Coast, obviously, but for me personally, I was starting to maybe figure, starting to feel like I could find some consistency, some repetition. I think the more reps, the better for me right now. Just trying to get back into it. So definitely would have liked to have kept going, but at the end of the day, that's baseball, and I'll get another crack at it here soon.
Was there discussion at all about starting to delay? Did you know the rain was coming when you went out there? Or
did I know?
Did you know when you took them there was
I didn't know there was going to be an hour and a half rain delay. No, I didn't. But I think if it was 30, 45 minutes, I probably would have been fine. But hour and whatever it was, it's probably too long.
Did you do any throwing after, kind of just keep building it?
No, I just I tried to throw some when I thought I was going to stay in the game. So I tried to keep my arm loose that way in the cage, but once they told me I was done, it's kind of hard to ramp it back up and throw more pitches. I wasn't going to do that. Thanks.